Healthcare recruiting is a $90 billion problem. About 96% of job applicants never hear from anyone when they apply.
If I had been really looking for a job, it would be a really frustrating process.
We've seen sales cycles of 4 to 6 months closing a top 10 health systems. That's unheard of. It used to take 2-3 years to go through that process. The value will be far better than a solution that claims to have everything, but then it's on the surface.
This is Ryan Leary with Work to Find. We've got Yaniv from Take Two with us right now. Yaniv, welcome in. How are you?
Thank you very much. Enjoying the show. It was great. Just finished the presentation a few minutes ago.
You did. And that's where I saw you. And I was like, we need to talk. So first off, let's introduce yourself to the audience and tell us what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Yaniv Shimoni. I'm one of the co-founders of Take Two. At Take Two, we're building AI agents purpose-built for healthcare recruiting. Essentially means we've built a network of 5 interoperable agents that automate the end-to-end recruiting process specifically for healthcare organizations and health systems.
So let's stay there for a second. Specifically healthcare. Why healthcare? And how is that different than manufacturing, for example? Well, obviously, it's very different, but let's explain why is that different?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you think about it right now, 1 in 3 new jobs is in healthcare.
Okay.
They have up to 50% turnover, and they have the highest vacancy cost of any industry. Healthcare recruiting is a $90 billion problem. And the interesting thing is, healthcare organizations, they're known to not be the fastest adopters of technology. They're slow movers. And essentially what we see is we see a paradigm shift where healthcare are the fastest adopters of AI. And so that's kind of like a shift. It just points out to how acute the problem is and how agentic AI presents an opportunity to solve that pain for them.
Right. But let's talk about adoption for a second. So what are you seeing now with AI adoption in the organizations that you're working with?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you think about automation, we went from kind of like chatbots to generative AI and now to agentic AI, which basically means we're able to build intelligent systems, right? That not only creates actionable insights, but also execute them instead of humans. So what does that mean? It means that a recruiting team can amplify, a TA team can amplify essentially their team with AI agents, and you can have a workforce of AI recruiters that are on 24/7. It leads to better quality of hire, better retention metrics, faster time to fill. And so, we've seen sales cycles of 4 to 6 months closing a top 10 health systems. That's unheard of. It used to take 2-3 years to go through that process.
What are you seeing in terms of trust for candidates who know that it's an AI that they're working with? Have they gotten used to this? Have they accepted it? Or are they just going through the motions because they need a job?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I'll tackle it in twofold, right? One, research coming out of Stanford University and Harvard University actually showed that with a large sample set, candidates say that more comfortable talking to an AI interviewer than a human, which is kind of funny. And the reason for that is they control the timeline. They could do it from their bedroom at 11 p.m. when the kids are sleeping, right? But also in a very concrete manner, if you think about it, about 96% of job applicants never hear from anyone when they apply. So right now, the opportunity, even if it's an AI interviewer, the opportunity to engage with someone and tell them your story for every single applicant is actually something that really resonates with them. And we see that with, we've done millions of AI engagements across with applicants. And what we're seeing is actually a 4.7 out of 5 candidate rating across all of these applicants. So extremely high
and that's on the experience. 4.7 out of 5 on the experience that they're going through.
Correct. A candidate rating of, hey, did you enjoy this engagement? How would you rank it on a scale of 1 to 5? 1 being I hate it and 5 I love it.
That's fantastic. Uh, so a while back, I put a lot of applications out just to test application process. And so I just got a call. This was 12 months ago. When I say a while back, about 12 months ago, I got a call back a week ago from, I don't know if you had BJ's Wholesale Club in,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep, for
So
sure.
you got a call back from these guys. So sorry to put you on blast, but I got to do it. It took them 12 months to get back to me for an order fulfillment specialist. This is someone that just walks around, grabs the food off the shelf, puts it into a cart. It was a human that got back to me, and I'm talking to her. And I said, look, I applied to this job a year ago, and it was more of a test. We were testing like fast apply, easy apply, all these other, processes. Um, nobody ever got back to you. Nobody even had an automated response to me. I think Home Depot may have had something where it was just like, hey, we got your application. If something is available, we'll reply back to you. And I didn't hear a thing. And I completely forgot about the entire thing until a couple weeks ago when I got this call.
Yeah.
It blows my mind because if I had been really looking for a job, it would be a really frustrating process.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what candidates are experiencing across the board, right? So if you think about it, the humans will always be involved. TA teams are fearful a little bit right now. They're like, wait, is AI going to replace me? Am I going to get fired? And the idea here is that we can now automate
Right.
the processes that can be automated and let humans do what they're able to do best, which is
Right.
build relationships with qualified candidates that they want to hire. And you can do that while also touching every single applicant, right? Engaging with them. Because what you just mentioned is exactly what we hear from healthcare companies every single day. It's like, I want to engage more applicants and improve their experience, which is
Right.
exactly to your point.
Yeah. And in your case, in healthcare, they need to fill these positions. You said it was the most expensive vacancy cost in all of recruiting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it just makes complete sense. Okay. So I want to talk real quick about the buying process. Not specifically for Take Two, but as companies are looking to bring in technology, what should they now consider as they're vetting out and looking for solutions?
Yeah, for sure. And I think at the beginning you started talking about how is this different from, manufacturing, right? So
Sure.
bringing it back to that point, the idea that we are building agents that are purpose built for healthcare mean many things, right? But one of the thing is that we are essentially there's a repeating element of we're doing the same roles with different companies over and over
Right.
again. And so it leads to essentially better hiring outcomes. So now
Mhm.
when a healthcare company is trying to assess different vendors, right? There are some things that are table stakes, right? Which is essentially, you know, do you have enterprise grade security? Because you're gonna have to prove that you have, SOC 2 Type 2 compliance. Your agentic AI needs to abide to all the new employment
Sure.
AI
Mhm.
labor laws, right? And those elements are crucial. Companies are not setting up AI committees to evaluate how well your solution integrates to the applicant tracking system. How well do you kind of like integrate into their existing workflows?
Mhm.
All are basically no goes, if you will, if you don't have those.
Right.
But then let's say a health system now. Let's assume you have three vendors that all pass through those hurdles. Now, how do they choose who to work with? It's not really about the technology as much as it is about the data play. And at Take Two, because we're healthcare specific, we have our scoring, our methodology, the engagement are all tailor made for healthcare, which just creates better
Yeah.
outcomes to that industry and that vertical, if that makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah. So what's the argument to a head of talent or someone who's buying technology that says, you know what, I love this product because it is purpose built for healthcare, but this other solution also does this. Whatever the also is, they're doing more than one thing. What's the argument against that when you're looking for software?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, you always have to compare apples to apples. Because if you talk about right now, AI is being thrown like a buzzword on a
Everywhere.
on
Sure.
a every single minute basis, right? And I hear TA leaders say, oh, I already use AI because my ATS uses AI and
Right.
because everyone uses AI. But what does it actually mean, right? So we need to look at the outcomes data, right? And we need to
Mhm.
look at the metrics that TA leaders care about, right? And the question is, if you go to your point to a horizontal solution that serves different industries and a lot of different use case, they won't really be able to specialize. And where will the impact be? The impact will come on the talent acquisition metrics, right? So if we go through RFPs all the time with larger companies than us, and at the end of the day, when we evaluate the metrics in terms of speed to hire, retention metrics, quality of hire, we always surpass the competitors when it's specific to healthcare, because when you're, it's just like, the kind of like the startup 101, which is you build a MVP, right? The most
Sure.
viable product.
Mhm.
You build to a specific niche, you're able to be much more specialized and narrow, and the value will be far better than a solution that claims to have everything, but then it's on the surface level, if that makes sense.
Oh, it absolutely does. Well, this is exactly where I kind of want to go here. As we get further into 26, which we're about halfway through at this point, what are you seeing for the future of AI adoption? What are companies now going to be doing?
Yeah. And things are moving so quickly right
Yeah.
now that, right, we haven't seen a paradigm shift like this in a very long time, right? Um, what I'm seeing right now, if we compare to 2025, where there was a lot of mandates from leadership to evaluate solutions, kind of like if we talk about healthcare, but also more broadly speaking, 2025 was about learning what is out there, investigating, and knowing that we can't stay behind. We have to adopt, right? But mass adoption didn't come at that point. Right now, there's a push towards adoption. And so we're seeing companies move much faster. Companies, actually funny, we were in Sherm Talent last year, right? In Nashville, which was awesome, by the way. And we talked to a lot of companies that were very curious about it and collected information, and we stayed in touch with them. We closed a lot of these companies as customers, like
Mhm.
in the beginning of 26. That's the shift from evaluation
It took
to
them that
adoption.
long to get there.
Yeah, because companies are like, okay, we're fearful of bias, we're fearful of, AI, new labor laws, and we need to learn and understand. But now they're seeing, wait, we're staying behind a little bit, and large companies are adopting this, right? A previous point that you asked is like, what companies take in as criteria in their decision making
Sure.
process, and when they're seeing, hey, Take Two is working with 20 other health systems that are similar to me, similar to my size, and it's working. And that kind of like those logos, that kind of like social proof really helps with adoption. And that's
Right.
what I'm seeing in 2026 right now.
That's good. Yaniv, thank you so much
Thank you. Really
for
appreciate it.
joining us here today.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure. Great show.